Today I Met is a conversation series that goes beyond small talk. We speak with people from our everyday lives and explore what makes us who we are. You have this memory that you talked about when you were younger and you watched the Olympics.
Yeah, it was Dominique Moceanu, and I had such a crush on her. It was 1996 Summer Olympic Games, and she was a gymnast, and I remember I had a crush on her, and I wanted to be like her, you know. So I would dance around the neighborhood, I would try to study her moves, and the neighborhood thought it was really cute. I was just this little, I was a boy at the time, and I was this little boy dancing around, and my dad and my mom were so mad. My dad said that you can't do that because you're being gay, and I remember being like, but I like a girl romantically. So how can I be gay? And he's like, well, if you do, anyone who does girly things is gay. And I'm like, all right, that doesn't make any sense. The ironic thing to me is that he was right, is that I am gay. It's just not in the way that he thought I was.
Robin, tell me about coming out.
Now it's so clear to me when I look back at my life, like, oh my God, all the signs were there. But it wasn't until a year and a half ago when I was just driving back to work one day and I was listening to very girly pop music, which I always listen to in my car. Since I was on antidepressants and going to therapy and everything, I felt really happy. And I'm like, I'm going to roll the window down and I'm just going to sing. Why not? I've suppressed it my whole life. And then when I did that, that was when all those memories that I talked to you about just a second ago, they all came flooding back. It's February 3rd, 2015. I remember the date. I was on my way back to work. I had to go clock back in right afterwards, And I remember my whole body was shaking. I was just shaking and I was crying. And like you said, I think I'm meant to be a woman. I didn't know what any of it meant. I remember when I came out, I thought to myself, I am potentially throwing away my relationship with the person I love more than anyone. And it was almost like, until I was willing to throw it all away, I didn't really know what freedom felt like. Like, what if Kate leaves me and what if my family disowns me? And in that moment, like, I felt so powerful about my identity that I didn't care. It was really liberating. And then the horror started sinking in. This is a phase. This is a phase. I'm lying to myself. It's only because I'm seeing trans people in the news. That's why, and all this stuff. I'm like talking myself out of it. And no, my girlfriend and my friend dragged me to the store, and my first outfit was like, we're trying to pick some girl clothes for me, and I was like hiding my face. I'm like, this is so embarrassing. What am I doing? This is disgusting. You're a boy, you're in drag. This is like a lot of transphobia, internalized transphobia. And they were picking out clothes for me I didn't really like, so I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna try this on. And it was a pink blouse. And they're like, really? You're gonna go with that? And I'm like, I've wanted to wear pink forever. Let me try this on. And I thought to myself, I wanna hate this so that I never have to wear this in public because it's too scary. And then when I put on the dress and I looked in the mirror, I was like, I'm smiling for the first time. Like, I've never seen myself smile before. Like, that's what a smile looks like. And it was like I was glowing. And I remember, God, this is really scary. That means that, like, I'm never going to be able to go back. Yeah. And that was a really scary moment for me. I think I'm going to have to wear women's clothing my whole life now. Which means a whole life of discrimination,
How do you feel when people do a double take when they see you?
Oh, it's, whenever people look at me in public, and it's devastating every time. I haven't gotten used to it. I actually stay indoors most of the time because of it. I was the first employee to ever come out at my workplace, so don't ever be the first employee to do anything. That's my tip to anyone. And I thought maybe people are going to look for a couple of weeks maybe, and they'll ask me some questions. And that's something that I expected to happen. I did not expect that every day it would be like 50 to 100 people. Like I'm a zoo animal. Like, they're like looking over in my cubicle, and some of them would stop and just stare, really angrily at me. I am upset that they're staring at me, but I'm also upset because it's insulting to my intelligence that they think that I don't see that they're doing it. It's almost like to be able to stare at somebody and think that they don't see you. You don't look at them like a human being with feelings and perceptions. Yes. You're like, well, I'm just looking at this thing,
like
and
an object.
I'm not trying to hurt it or anything or whatever. And whenever I say this, people always go, well, you look at it from their perspective, right? Look at it from how it, and it's like, look, One of the reasons why I didn't wear women's clothing in public and why I don't around my apartment complex is because I don't want other people to feel weird about my identity. That's how overly accommodating I am, right? One of the reasons I love doing stand-up is because I can control it. So once I'm on stage, I use that to my advantage. Everyone is staring at me and they have to. That's good for a comedian. And then right away I have about 20 seconds to make them laugh really hard. And then once I do that, now I have their attention. Now they look at me like I'm a human being.
Yeah.
And then for those 10, 15 minutes, I can show them that I am so many different things. I'm not just a trans woman. I'm also like a professional wrestling fan. And I have a lot of neuroses, and I'm depressed, and I'm poor. There's so many things about me. I do stand up because like a little bit at a time, I'm hoping to shatter people's expectations and maybe tell them, hey, I'm just a normal person. I'm a regular person like anyone else. Please stop staring at me like that because I can see you.
When many people see you, they see a man in a dress.
Yeah.
And talk to me about how that limits so much of who you are.
Yeah, it's just, it's like being trans it's one part of me. It's something I forget about for the most part because like sometimes I'll actually be walking around and I just go like, oh my god, I'm wearing makeup, like, oh, like I forget, like there's so many other things about me. I like if I had to identify myself as like one thing, like, well, I am a professional wrestling fan. I've been watching for 26 years now, and I know more about professional wrestling than everything else I know combined, But that never gets asked. I have to always answer about this one facet about myself because people are confused about society and they pigeonhole me into this thing.
How has self-acceptance unfolded over time for you?
Oh, self-acceptance is like, I don't know if I'll ever fully accept myself. It's like this project that you work on and you never really fully complete it and then you die, And I know that sounds really morbid, but I think it's beautiful. I think it's like, you're going to keep trying to improve and you don't do it because you're going to win, but you do it because it's like, it feels good and it's right, I accept myself a little more every day. And there are moments where I just go, I love myself, I look great, and I love my life and I love being alive. But, those moments come and go. But the fact that I can reach those moments now, that's my own personal victory.
Yeah.
But no, I mean, sometimes I wake up and I just look in the mirror and I'm like, you're lying to yourself. You're not really you're making this up. Well, it's hard to break those patterns because they've been hammered into your brain for decades. What really helps is my girlfriend for the past year and a half has never misgendered me once.
It reasserts or reaffirms.
Yes.
Reaffirms you.
It reaffirms me because sometimes I will get really mad at myself and I'll misgender myself on purpose just because I feel like I don't deserve to be happy.
Yeah.
And she'll get really mad and she'll correct me. I can be really mean to myself sometimes,
What do you love about yourself?
What do I love about you? Mean just like the way I look or like just me?
Yeah.
I love that I'm so different.
Yeah.
I love that about myself. I hate that it's so hard, I have a very dark sense of humor, but it's like this positive underneath it all. I know how to make things beautiful without being corny. Like I know how to like dive right into the darkness and to find just like a little bit of comedy underneath it,
Robin, what's your definition of beauty?
When somebody is very authentic with who they are, it's like the most beautiful thing in the world. I almost said when they love themselves, but I think that's wrong because I think it's self-love is a struggle, self-acceptance and all that stuff. But when somebody is really authentic and they're not lying to themselves, it's so beautiful, even when they're insecure and they're just like unapologetically authentic, I'm more proud of my own comedy and my own writings than I've ever been because like I don't have any more walls up. I'm just myself. It's complete vulnerability. And I hope that everyone finds their authentic self, in whatever way you can.
What was the turning point 2 years ago?
I think the turning point for me was waking up with an actual anxiety attack and this constant feeling of drowning. And so